right volume now. All right, sorry. Yeah, I had to update the sound drivers again. But you know what? The good news is that the Elgato Wave system is so much better than the Voice8er stuff I was using before. I can't even tell you. Okay, chat is too loud. That's okay. It's going to get loud here in a second. All right, so a couple things. Before we get started here, I want to let you know that the Wraith skin is still available for a short time. There is a new skin coming post-Christmas for December. But if you would still like to subscribe and get the Wraith skin, you can do so before it goes away. And, of course, you know, we are having a sale here. We are doing 20% off basically newcomer packs and M3 packs for our December sale. And every waifu and husbando skin we've ever done is now available in the general store at 50% off. And so that you can get more than one skin, we have added a shopping cart functionality to the site. So you no longer have to just buy one thing at a time. You can load it up and send it on out there. So definitely check that out. That sale is going to last till January 5. Yes, and I believe it took us less time than the Epic Game Store to get our shopping cart functionality in there. Thanks to Em for doing that. Miss Amelia did a great job on that. Of course, I say that now, but if you encounter any problems, it's not my fault. All right, the big news, of course, is that we have a new build available for backers. And, yeah, she did it in like 3 hours. Take that, Epic. Let's see. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm just catching up with chat here. We are going to have a new build here, and it's an experimental build. All right. So this is, and it's clearly labeled experimental, so that no one gets confused, because we would like feedback on the community on this build. Is this something we should pursue, basically? And for me, it's kind of like the missing puzzle piece that I've been looking for, and for a lot of reasons which I'll discuss when I got the demo here. But why don't we go ahead and go ahead and dive right into the build, since that's what everyone's waiting for, and I've hyped it up so much. And then we will go to after the build, we will open it up to everyone else to download. Apologies that there is no pre-download. We don't have a launcher. We don't have a way to stop logins before the stream, and we wanted to definitely, like, you know, have a surprise element to this because it's a big new feature for us. And there's no way to pre-download it, unfortunately. But once I've shown you a little bit of what it's about, we're gonna Miss Amelia's gonna hit that button, make that download available, so all of you can download the build and join me and jump right in. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. All right, turning some stuff off here. All right, this is the build. You know this build. And this is our white box terrain. We call it white box terrain because we deliberately have taken away all textures to let people know that this is all work in progress temporary while we do the art pass. And the idea is that it's all going to come together quite suddenly. When the art pass is ready, all the elements will sort of come in at once, and you'll see a real idea. All right, so someone's in here already. That shouldn't be. All right, so performance is improved. If you look at the frame rate counter, it's way higher than Nanite. But there is something else. Things might look the same, but they aren't. They are not the same at all. There is something very fundamentally different with this build. And I'm about to show you right now by doing this. Now, don't worry. We just temporarily modified the weapons to do this. But this is not, and they disappear here. They heal over time, right? They don't stick around. What we've done here is we have completely voxelized the terrain. So we are literally debuting a groundbreaking feature here. And you can see that I can even like tunnel into this stuff. And the plasma cannon leaves a bigger hole, so I can do this too.
It's basically deep rock elastic. Except not at all.
I had to think, yeah, so that was the pun. It's literally groundbreaking. All right, now we're trapped on the ground here. We got to dig our way out because of the healing nature of it all. So all the weapons right now will temporarily modify terrain.
You can't get out. Sucks to be you.
I got it out.
Yes, the world won't heal around you, right? So
This is
it's still entirely possible to fall through the world into your death, but I have fixed it so that you actually do respawn if that happens.
Okay, we're out. I got out. All right, so the other thing is there's a couple of other things that deform here. I can do crater. Crater actually leaves a crater now. And let's call down the thumper.
I think sometimes what can happen is that the deposits... What happened to me in testing sometimes is what the deposits spawned like under the terrain, like 500 meters under the terrain. So if that happens, just scan it again, I suppose.
Thumper inbound.
Alright, so we'll see what happens when he starts drilling here. So we had fun, Harry had fun hooking up deformations to a bunch of stuff. Now this, I gotta tell you something. This is not terrain deformation. I want to make something really clear. This is not terrain deformation.
Yeah, you know, these holes.
These are actually voxels. The entire terrain you see here is voxels. This has a lot of implications. It means that you can have cave systems. It means that you can have, like, you know, ways to terraform the landscape. We're a terraforming game, right? You're sitting here as colonists, and you're going in and you're terraforming the planet. This means we can have overhangs on the terrain. You're no longer limited to just these mountains. You can have, like, bridges and, you know, overhangs and things like this. Yep. And the other thing you'll notice is that the frame rate is greatly improved. We had the regular terrain, that was okay. Then we switched to nanite, things got really slow. And what we're interested now is, for those of you who have lower-end systems, how is the performance? So let's go ahead and let everybody in, Miss Amelia. Let's let everybody into the build. Because I want to see how the performance is. Especially for those of you who have our new spectrum Team 1050 Ti's or 1060s. Definitely want to see what's going on with that. And you can see how these guys get stuck in holes. Can I trap the thumper? And we're kind of amazed that everything still works, even though we've got, you know... So this terrain has volume, right? It's like Minecraft. You can, like, tunnel into the side of a mountain if you want to. And there's something else that we did too, for those of you who want to clear this encounter.
The game is really loud compared to others.
Alright, let's fix that.
So
I'm gonna pull the game down here for a bit. Let's clear out these guys.
Just to be clear, this is not meant to be what you're seeing here. It's not to be a mainline feature, right? We're not turning this into like Deep Rock Galactic or Minecraft or anything like that, right? This is just to more or less test out
I'm
the performance.
actually leaving that open to the community. I'd like to hear the sort of... I want to harness the community brain power to see what sort of things could be done with this. And, you know, I'm going to leave it completely open. I'm very excited about this, and I want to leave this completely open. So before I talk more about that, because this is absolutely game-changing. This is the ability to do this and to run at this frame rate. But let me point out a couple more features. Before we talk about that, you can actually change the level of LOD. Harry's hooked it up to the numpad key. And so you can have like a numpad 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right now, this is detail level 3. If I watch the distant mountains, because that's what it affects, and watch my frame rate counter. Now switch it to detail level 4. And then I'll switch it to detail level 5, which is less and less detail. And then detail level 6, if it actually works. Hang on. There we go.
It does, but...
There's detail level 6.
Yeah.
So this gives me, on a 2070S, a bump of... well, I had to hit numlock, and then I had to hit the key. So I had to hit the number pad, and then I had to hit the key. But this gives me like a 20% bump, maybe 20 to 30% bump on a 2070S. And like I said, it affects distant terrain. So this is actually pretty amazing stuff. How many of you remember EverQuest Next and what it was going to be? How many of you remember that it was going to be a completely voxel-oriented MMO? And I was so hyped for that. And there was so much player building that could be done in that. And then what happened was Daybreak Games, they got sold by Sony, and they became Daybreak Games, and then they totally just canceled the project and laid the whole team off. And I thought that was really sad. I thought that was really disappointing. And this, when I saw this and saw this as potential, and we were able to get this into the build, I was like, you know what? For a game that's about colonizing and terraforming a planet, and for a game that has kaiju stomping through, leaving actual footprints, wouldn't that be cool? Making everything we can as destructible as we can for that sort of like big epic kaiju carnage. Wouldn't that fit so well with Em8er? That is nuts. That is nuts. What about, you remember the cave missions in Firefall? What about coming into this game and having dynamic caves as dynamic encounters that are procedurally generated that you can go into to find rare resources? What about that? And they could come and go. What about when you join Em8er, you get a player homestead, and the homestead lets you completely edit the terrain on a permanent basis rather than on this sort of like temporary thing we have here, right? Because what they said in EverQuest Next and what we've been talking about here is that, hey, if you're in a main zone or something, that these changes would be like temporary. This is totally reminding me of Deep Rock right here. Don't fall in the pit. Okay. All right, so get in here, guys. Play around with this. Draw your stuff in the snow. Your toss banning stuff. Get it out of your system. But like, you know, what's blowing me away here is that I can't even wrap my head around what is going to be possible now, or potentially possible, right? Yeah, performance nuke the server. I just fell through the terrain here. Nope.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Obviously, there's going to be bugs. We just hooked all this up, right? We just hooked all this up. But yeah, let me check chat. What do you guys think? What I mean, the possibilities are kind of crazy. Now, the reason we did this was not for these super big ideas, right? These only occurred to me and Harry after we put it in. We were like, wait, what do we have here? What does this mean? And what we did, well, the world performance is fantastic. We have better frame rate than when we were running standard terrain, and I haven't even turned on DLSS yet. That's what's astounding is that, but you tell me, I'm waiting for you guys with the 1060s, you guys with the 1050 Ti's, you guys with the 900 series cards, even though that's below our min spec. Our min spec's going to be a 1060. Let me know. Jump in. What's the frame rate like? When you push numeric pad 6 and you reduce the terrain, do you get a speed bump? You know, let me put it back to regular here. Okay, so you can see the detail here. That's me pushing the numpad 3 key versus numpad 4, which is the lowest level of detail that you can get, which is this. But it's scalable, right? It's scalable. And so I'm going to put it back up here to numpad 3. But if I hadn't told you this was voxel terrain and you had played the last build, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You'd be looking at these distant mountains and you'd be going like, well, what did you change? And then be like, well, guess what? I mean, this ground extends infinitely underground. It acts like a real planet. And that's what's cool, because we're talking about, and we've been talking about, how MMOs need to be more physical, that they need to really feel more and more like a real world around you. And that stuff has to be represented physically, like ships. Ships need to have interiors. Yeah, sorry, we buried her because I just imported the Highfield terrain and I didn't really like. It's like, oh, this is like the Power Washer game. I'm clearing the snow out. Is there a snow shoveling game? We were just talking about power washing and how satisfying it is. But so we originally did this because, you know, we've been talking about how do we do a giant planet, and we needed to be able to do things procedurally. We needed to be able to generate procedural biomes, right? Especially being a small team, we're not a giant MMO team. You know, we need to figure out a way to deliver vast areas of a planet. And so we ended up thinking, okay, well, guess what? If we did voxels, we might be able to do something very interesting with that. And the other issue we were trying to solve is base building. Like, how do we do base building on uneven terrain? We need to be able to deform the terrain and actually be able to flatten stuff out. And so we're like, okay, if we went with voxels, that might be a way to do it too. So it was initially, and then we said, hey, it's really kind of weird that when you're thumping and mining, that the drill doesn't make any sort of impression on the ground. And so rather than going with any sort of like halfway measure, like deforming the terrain, okay, that works, but that's only halfway. What if we went all the way and we made the world voxels? So you could literally just, oops, my window. Okay, hang on. That window drag thing is really messing me up. I'm gonna resize it here. And so we said, what if we made the world completely voxels, and what could we do with this? And we said, well, shit, we could do a lot. Like, we could have dynamic cave systems. We could, when we could give players a claim stake where they could actually sit here and, actually do terraforming rather than just, pretending that and hand waving it in the game. It's like, oh yes, it's a game about terraforming, but no, you can't actually terraform the terrain. Sorry, there's some bugs here. Remember, this is going to be buggy. We know it's going to be buggy. And the terrain does heal over time. So that's something EverQuest Next said they were going to do for the open terrain, was that because you don't want players permanently modifying important zones, that these communal zones, these communal open zones or designer developed zones would be something where it heals over time. And I want to emphasize that these weapons right now are leaving giant craters, but it's not intended. This is an exaggeration. This is only for the test. There is a disclaimer when you log into the build to that effect. If you wanted to modify terrain, we would actually do mining mechs, right? We would do mechs that had tools that would allow you to shape the terrain. So if you had your own claim stake on the planet, that you could go out there and you could sort of like use a terrain mech that you craft, because remember, everything in Em8er is crafted, to create a sort of like terraforming mech that you could sit here, and if it was your own personal space, you could potentially terraform it permanently. These are ideas, right? Just shooting before we limit ourselves, before we go like, well, realistically this, realistically that. I just want to get people's imagination spinning here. So I'm going to look to chat here for a second. I haven't been reading chat. I've just been flying around. On Twitch right now. Let's see. What do we got here? Shoot me your questions or ideas. I'm reading right now. Will there be Eurofail? Eurofail, what a name. Does that mean there will be contested lands between guilds for certain regions and therefore guild fights are similar? No, this is a PvE game. It's co-op, so you're doing co-op stuff. You could build together. Build back better together. I feel like I'm clearing snow. Jedi, you're not a fan. How come you're not a fan? Oh, Sinlink says, I'm not a big fan of this voxel terrain and that click and vanish mining if it's used to dynamically deform the terrain with thumpers. That's fine with me because I never saw a single voxel terrain deformation that actually worked. It was always weirdly shaped, edges standing out, sometimes individual voxel pieces that hovered till eternity, just a sore point for me. Well, I think when we get the textures on here, it's going to look a lot better. And this is, this is obviously without any terrain textures on it whatsoever. And, the idea is that this stuff is temporary, and what you're seeing now is not, is not the final, gameplay. Weapons aren't supposed to do this, right? Your machine gun is not supposed to be able to, draw a smiley face in the snow. Ghost Viper is worried about the potential of griefing. Well, that's okay. Here's what I'm thinking, right? That we use the deformation judiciously for effects and also to utility, like flattening terrain for base building, because we need to have that. We can't just have buildings with their foundations hovering in the air, right? But as far as, can you deform like anything you want? No. The idea is that these are procedural zones, but they're design zones, and you can't just go willy-nilly change the terrain to your liking, right? But there might be areas where you can, like for instance, if you have a claim, if there's, we talked about player housing in future updates. In Em8er, they would likely take the form of you having some sort of claim on the planet because, we're kind of a homesteading theme. You're sort of like colonizing a planet. And you're supposed to be able to like stake your ground. And we are a crafting game, right? So maybe those areas would allow you to do much more terrain deformation. The other thing we can do with this is that even if you don't generally deform this terrain, there could be some areas where we use the technology to create procedural cave systems that come and go. Because remember how Firefall is all dynamic events, and so the idea is that we can have dynamic events of potentially cave systems that no two are alike. And when you find them, there's going to be a rare resource there. I'll go down and grab that stuff. So the idea is not that you can mess with everybody. Well, Little Siberian Bear, you say voxels are very expensive for performance. I beg to differ so far. because we're getting better frame rates here than we were with our nanite terrain build, even when we weren't looking at the nanite terrain. So the frame rate here is actually really good. It's better than it was. It's smoother than it was. And we haven't even turned on DLSS yet. Like, I could turn that on. Let's see what we can do here. Let's go to ultra performance. Sure, why not? And Unreal has their own solution for this. You won't need a, an NVIDIA card to do this sort of super sampling. This is actually better frame rate than we're getting otherwise. If you have more buildings and more players, yeah, the frame rate goes down, but I'm not they're not voxel, right? I'm not proposing that the buildings and everything else be voxels. I think that would look weird for the art style because it would look kind of grainy. But I'm just comparing this build to our last build, and you can check that out. You can actually go check out the nanite build, the Unreal 5, and the only thing we changed here is the terrain, and you're going to find that your performance is better. Is it scalable? It's actually more scalable than the other world composition systems we were looking at, which is using landscape and mesh terrain. Now, I won't guarantee that yet. I got to look into it, but we initially did this because we said we need a way to procedurally generate an entire planet. We need a way to procedurally generate an entire planet. And so we could do it with terrain meshes. It's a little awkward, but this is kind of an elegant solution for that. So if you are worried about performance, jump on in here. Let me know, because my experience is it's running smoother than it ever has before using voxel terrain. And it's scalable. So you asked if it's scalable. If I hit here and hit, numpad 6, the terrain will drop, and on this system, I'm getting like an additional 10 FPS out of this or so. Your mileage may vary. If you are on a slower system, pressing number 6 on the number pad might actually give you a more significant speed boost. All right, I'll turn it back to full detail here. Yeah, I was actually getting so it's like 10 to 20 frames. But even overall, I'm having a much more satisfying experience on my rig playing this build than I was the nanite build, even when I wasn't looking at nanite terrain. And we are getting a 1060 system together. I have a test system here, thanks to community members who sent cards over and traded cards, or he outright gifted them. We have the cards here, and we'll be giving that a shot. So can I shoot the train out from under him? Yep.
So here's the thing. As to whether this is a core, some kind of core gameplay change or some kind of conceptual realignment, the idea was always that you're going to build bases. And when you're building bases, you need to have a system to modify the terrain somehow. Without this, we simply do not have that. You cannot modify, in base Unreal Engine game, you cannot really modify the terrain in runtime. Something like this allows for that. So just out of the necessity of allowing base construction, you need this. So this is not really realignment of core gameplay concepts. This is facilitating them.
We were looking for a solution to deform the terrain, always. But Caden just reports that on RX 580X, which is a 1060 equivalent, Caden is getting 70 to 80 frames per second. That's good news. Caden, did you try pressing numpad 6 to drop it down the level of detail to see if you get a boost, or are you already at the lowest LOD? And by the way, on the 1060, the target resolution is 1080p. Yeah, we would not let this be used to grief players.
Yeah, I don't think this is properly understood. The amount of modifications players will be able to do will be non-existent. Like the only modifications of the terrain that could happen would be some kind of AI event, like thumper mining or, you know, kaiju destroying stuff and, you know, walking around, that kind of deal. Players will have near zero impact on the terrain.
Yeah, the only case where I'm contemplating that is, like I said, special areas, like if it's your personal zone, right? If it's your personal stake on terrain, then that is something you could modify. This is really to solve a visual problem effect and a base placement effect, and also to open up possibilities for procedurally generated content, like procedural cave systems and things like this, as dynamic events in the world.
Just a quick reminder, everybody. Grum said that the machine gun and plasma cannon ability to modify the ground is temporary. So I think right now people are seeing you shoot the ground and create this whole cave, you know, ground system just from shooting it. It's not going to be that easy, folks. Remember, this is a temporary setup.
When we're talking about creating caves, we're not talking about weapons that create caves. We're talking about the server generating them out of the terrain. So the server goes and creates something procedurally. It's not that the player creates them. It's always server side. Or like 99%, if not 100% of the terrain modification will be initiated by a server side event.
Toshi will find a way to flatten it. Toshi's asking.
Originally,
go ahead.
Yep. Go ahead. Originally, the assault rifle wasn't meant to modify the terrain. I just forgot to unhook it, and Mark was like, "All right, just keep it in then."
Yeah, because I wanted to see how far we could push it, right? But there's a disclaimer on the build. When you download the build and play it, it actually says that we put up a big warning text. It's like, "Hey, this is not what's going to happen in the game. Assault weapons are not going to be digging holes like this. And even if you did terrain modification tools, you wouldn't have them at this speed, right?" I lost my mouse focus again. All right, let me fix this. Server's holding up well. Awesome.
Yeah, there are some, like for example, the thing that I saw was that the projectiles, as they're flying, don't generate collision. So when you shoot the plasma cannonball far away from you, it will just fall through the terrain because the collision only generates in a close proximity around you. That's one of the features, sort of, features of the plugin that we're using, of the Voxel solution that we're using, is that collision is being sort of dynamically generated around you. Originally, it is possible to have it just globally, just have the collision everywhere, but there was some weird desyncs happening wherein you got a lot of corrections when you jumped into the deformed holes. So I switched to this sort of dynamic collision invocation stuff. But depending how that works, I might switch back to having the collision everywhere, or just have the projectiles be their own invokers, see how that affects performance, and or just play around with it. But
this is the performance test.
Yeah.
So far the news is good. We're running on 900 series cards, 970s at 60, 70 frames per second, plus once you switch LOD down to 6, Caden's reporting that you get another 5 to 10 FPS out of that. So that's significant. That's another 10% boost. We haven't talked about base building and how that's going to work, right? So
no.
You know, most people haven't heard us talk about base building. And the idea is that you call down these RTS-style buildings, and they get built on this terrain. But we'd always been looking for a solution to be able to modify the terrain, and not necessarily just flattened it. Like, there's a couple options. We could flatten the terrain, or we could have the terrain raise up, or we could do some combination of the two to get us to a level ground. And because we're a mining game, I think there's going to be something satisfying about being able to watch your thumper actually deform the terrain and actually dig holes as it's going around, as it does in this demo, right? And I don't know. I think that being such a crafting-focused game, this opens up a lot of potential future possibilities. So it solves our short-term problems, which we always had to solve, which was, hey, we need to generate a world procedurally, and we need to do it in, a vast world. We need to do entire planet, and we need a way to deform terrain in flexible ways to allow us to do interesting base building. Yeah, I think the way we implement it is throwing a lot of people off. I agree with you, Ronan. That's why we put the warning disclaimer up. It's like, no, you're not. This isn't the way it is. You're not going to go around and, deform terrain with your assault rifle, especially not at this rate of speed, right? So I definitely, yeah. So I'm going to send out an email, and I'm going to explain all of this more in detail. But right now, I want to get a feel for, just the general performance. And so far, let's see. How many players we got in here? 17 players. Let's see what we can do with this.
Well, one worry that I have is the list of changes that's happening on this. The list of changes that is, that you're doing to the terrain. It's really inefficient in how it's sorted, right? Because I sorted by time to expire. Never mind. I'm doing a really inefficient thing with the list of changes, and I sort of didn't really think to do some common sense list management sorting optimization thing. And it will likely, when we get too many people and too many changes, it will be likely
well, that's why we want to get people in here. We got 17. Miss Amelia's monitoring the server usage right now. It's funny how you can trap people in here. So I've been looking for a terrain solution for a while. Nanite was the last experiment, and this is the latest experiment.
By the way, you might have noticed that the ground around you, the closest ground around you, is oddly blurry. It looks like it's low resolution. That's a sort of shader issue. Because it used to be that it had the grid sort of thing going on before this build. This is some kind of I think this is that texture, but it's blurred for some reason. So this will go away with more reasonable
there's
terrain
no texture
shader
here right now, and you are seeing some faceting, but you know what? You are seeing some faceting because we're not running any textures right now. This is worst case.
Yes.
If you want to know what worst case, what will the terrain look like? It would be this: no textures. You're just seeing the raw data, but you're never going to see that in game. The landscape will be textured. There's going to be grass on top, or snowballs, or whatever we have going on. And this is, I think when you talk about the trade-off of what we're getting with performance and what we're getting with utility, being able to modify the terrain for base construction, opening up the potential for cave systems and things like this. When you think about the trade-off, graphics to me always lose out over gameplay. Gameplay to me is more important. It's like, with Nanite looked beautiful, right? We had Nanite terrain and it was gorgeous. And it was really slow. And it bought us nothing for gameplay, right? It was just nice to look at. I would rather have something that, is giving us much more utility, much more gameplay possibility. And if we suffer a little bit of graphics fidelity, if I see bright white snow, I might see some faceting like this. That's okay with me. That's a good trade-off. We got frame rate, we have utility, and we have a little bit of faceting on terrain. If you look at what games succeed, the ones that do the best always have the best gameplay. Now, you do have some graphics games or graphics showpieces. People buy them primarily to say, well, I want to see what my PC can do or what my console can do. but they're never the mega super blockbusters. The mega super blockbusters, you know, the ones that have the best chance are the ones that can run on lower end machines, and the ones that care less about the graphics and more about the gameplay possibilities. So a terrain system that gives us more possibility and better performance, huge win in my book.
I think there's a thumper on the left there that's stuck in the ball rolling pose. Yeah, that's something that happened to me, and I thought I fixed it. Oh, never mind.
I think he's trying to get out now, but we're
You know, he was like...
Yeah, this would be
no.
an example of griefing that we would not want to allow.
He's going to get confused. Oh no.
We're so mean.
Like, yeah.
We're so mean to the thumper. No, you're not getting out of that.
I think he's going to fall through the world, because I think the healing only is... the world healing only works for characters, so he's going to get
He's gonna
snowed
fall
in.
through right here. Can we dig him
Yeah.
out, guys? Can we dig him out? Is he still
Oh,
there?
he's going to... I hope the server doesn't crash when he actually gets killed by the kill volume.
Is he still here?
I actually didn't try that. What happens when it's just destroyed by the...
I think he's
falls
gone. I think he fell
through
through
the
the
wall.
world. I don't see him anymore.
Well, yes, he did, but he's going to explode eventually, right? And
And hopefully he doesn't crash the server.
yes.
All right, so
So it seems like the event
let me
cleanup
give
was
you
fine.
another possibility, right? Like, imagine that this world was completely textured. And imagine that there was, like, a patch of ground that was soft, and we indicated that by texture. And there was, like, dynamic mining areas that are around here. And so if you discovered, like, if I wandered over here, let's go over here, where that guy is. And, you know, and there was a different texture here. It's like, oh, this ground is soft, and you could actually bring out a mining tool, and you could grab, like, something important here, like some type of resource that you can't normally get from something, or that type of thing. And then you could find a cave system. Yeah. What if there were soft spots that you could dig in? Oh, does No Man's Sky does that? I don't play No Man's Sky since I was a bitter pre-orderer person and played for a while and then quit.
To be fair, and any kind of doing stuff like that, for Kickstarter we are only targeting what we have now, right? Like that probably won't be any terrain deformation at all for the Kickstarter demo. It will be only we will use the voxel world like this, but only for performance reasons. The Kickstarter will likely not include any of these theoretical.
We're focused on the
Yes.
thumper encounter. Sorry, I'm
Yes.
losing focus here on the.
The thumper will modify. It will do the little sort of when he's drilling, just to have it like a flare. Like, oh, that's neat. He modifies the terrain while he's drilling. It will be nicer than it is now. It's not particularly. I will improve the way he drills into it, into the ground, and that ground is going to be deformed, right? He's going to leave a hole after he's done drilling. But that is probably going to be the extent of the world modification.
All right, give me a moment here. I want to take some questions from chat. They've been piling up here. I apologize for that, moderators. If you get past questions, you can post them now either in Twitch or Discord. I am watching. I will be quiet for a little while as I read, but that doesn't mean I'm not here, and I'm going to be jumping in with answers right away. So please give space. Please give the floor to the community, because we've been talking a lot, and I want to hear from everybody. So I'm just going to... I'm going to first get out of this hole, and then I'm going to start taking questions here. All right. So first question I have here is your thoughts on is by Ashron's Fall. Ask your thoughts on dynamic healing of the world like dynamic respawns. Could you code it so that it heals faster if you are near it, but slow if it's just you near it? Or do you want a uniform heal time? Well, remember that this is not, what you're seeing right now is not the intended functionality. This is a test experimental build where we are just doing a performance test and a technological test on the voxel terrain. Weapons are not supposed to do this, and they're not supposed to be so exaggerated in terms of the holes they dig. And it's not, and the healing is just arbitrarily set to 10 seconds right now. So, you know, the idea is that certain weapons like the plasma cannon would leave a small crater, nothing near as big as this, and that would heal over time, but the rate of time wouldn't change depending on the number of players. I don't think, unless it was like a technological performance reason we needed for that. Okay, next question. Part-Time Jedi says, I just thought originally it was too Minecrafty. It felt like a huge change to the feel of the game as a whole. But when Harry explained that 90% of these terrain changes would be done by the server for events, and we would only be able to do it in certain areas with certain tools, I'm okay with that. Yeah, Jedi, the idea is that you can't just carve all this out, that we're using this as a utility function and a performance reason. And but there might be designated areas where you could do more. Like we talked about the soft spots for mining, or we also talked about in the future when you be able to claim physical land that you could actually do something like that, or do more terrain deformation. Okay, looking at a question in Discord now, Nordum asks, can you have it heal in reverse after the time limit is reached, i.e. heals the last damage first and slowly works backwards until the hole is filled? You can do a circular queue. Like, a lot of games will use a circular queue so that, you know, stuff does regenerate on the first in, last out type of thing. All right, so let me get another question here. Zingo asks, give us a tool or machine that can be player craftable, upgradable mid to late game that allows for excavation. This can be used for base building and be permanent for a day, week, month, depending on the world size. Just make sure it's reset on a regular basis, or you'll have a 2v2 server where everything is destroyed. Like PlanetSide 2, you have a specific radius around default bases where players can't build. And like Minecraft, reserve an area around the base chunk where other players without permissions can't grief terrain. You'll be able to connect multiple player bases or even build the Hive from Resident Evil. Yes! Yes, Zingo. This is the type of thinking I'm very interested in, is, you know, what does this mean for base building? What are the types of things we can do? And obviously other games have found ways to alleviate and manage the griefing so that it's not a problem, right? You're mentioning PlanetSide 2. I haven't tried their base building system, but yeah, the idea is that, hey, there's only limited ways that you can modify terrain, and that you know, we certainly don't want to encourage any way that's going to be a cause for griefing. And, you know, being able to modify terrain around bases in a limited way, I think that's an interesting thing. I really think we need to embrace the crafting nature of this. Ember's always been a crafting game. Ember has always been a game about mining, and we need to be able to deliver that fantasy, right? To deliver that core gameplay, and that core gameplay loop works. I mean, let's talk about New World. New World is horrible, right? Everyone loved it the first couple of weeks, and then everyone hated it. But it was a crafting-focused game. And that shows me that there's an audience out there for crafting focus, which is good for Ember because we've always been about craft everything, right? From day one, we said this game is craft everything. And if you can modify the terrain in specific ways in your areas or areas of your control without griefing, I think, or if you could like dig in the ground with your thumper and actually see that happen, that physicality is going to make it so much more satisfying as a mining and crafting game. All right, other question. Let's see. Margaret Mintel Cockroach says, effing Christ, yes, great to be back in the excitement of Mark Kern's stream. Thank you for all you've done. Let's have some huge excitement again today. Well, that's what we have here today. We have a new build. There's a lot of reasons for excitement. We have a new build with a never-before-seen feature that's helping us with our performance and helping us solve some problems we've had with generating a procedural planet and building bases. That's a huge reason to be excited. Another reason to be excited is that we are having a waifu and husbando sale on the website right now. Every skin from the subscription pack is available at a 50% discount. until January 5th. And there's a shopping cart feature that Miss Amelia has added so that you can actually load multiple skins up. Another reason to be excited is that there is a 20% winter discount on all newcomer packs and upgrades till January 5th. We tend to match the Steam sales. And another reason to be super excited is that we're doing a huge raffle today to celebrate this groundbreaking feature. Ha ha ha, pun intended. We are giving away an Arc Leech pack. We are raffling away an Arc Leech pack later on. So definitely stick around for that. So there, yes, plenty of reasons to be excited. All right, Aztec Razban says, I would like to imagine that after a big fight, you would be able to see the aftermath of deep strikes, kaiju, and battle thumpers or something like it. Maybe even make it permanent if it's important enough to the Emperor world. Yes, yes, more great thinking. We are a kaiju game. Kaiju need to destroy shit. Kaiju are the ones that are going to be doing most of the terrain deformation here. Kaiju are going to be leaving giant footprints. Kaiju are going to be demolishing everything because we're going to make as many things as destructible as we can. Very good use. Very good use. That's the type of thinking I want. I want that type of thinking. What can we do with this? Yes, there's worries about griefing. Performance, not an issue. We're getting better performance now than we ever have. What can we do with this? What can we do with this? Get imaginative with me. Get pumped. We'll dial it back later. We'll take the ideas and we'll be like, okay, when you're doing a brainstorming session, you never go, well, we can't. No, you go, what can we do? What the heck? This is awesome. I mean, look at this stuff. I mean, obviously it's not supposed to work this way, but look, we could just dig forever if we wanted to. It's like, what can we actually do with this? And then it's like, okay, now what's realistic? All right? That comes later. Now we sort through the ideas and we figure it out. We can't do everything, right? Certainly not. And we are being very cautious about what we promise we can do here. Because, we don't know. This is new to us too. But we explored Nanite, and Nanite was a dead end for us. It didn't have the performance we wanted. It had a great visual look. It didn't bias a lot of gameplay. So, and so we said, okay, we're still searching for that terrain system that makes sense for us, that solves our problems. And we came across this, and we're like, not only does it solve our problems, but the additional things that it opens up for us is staggering. And what we want to do is we want to figure out, how is this going to make kaiju more awesome? How is this going to make crafting more awesome? How is this going to make base building more awesome? How is this going to make dynamic events more awesome? That's what we want to do. And then we want to go and say, okay, what's realistic? What can we do step 1? What can we do step 2? All right, so Quadrana asks, would it be possible to have procedural tunnels made of soft earth that to dig into enemy bases during invasions to help sneaky players take over? Well, Quadrana, if you read the Vision book, the Tihu are supposed to build enemy bases. And Quadrana's wondering if you can, I guess it's like the siege thing for castles where you dig underneath the enemy castle and stuff. I don't know. To plant explosives or something? And it's not exactly a castle siege. I'm not sure that that's that sci-fi, but that's a cool idea. Being able to somehow tunnel under enemy defenses to maybe flank them or get around them. Maybe. I don't know. So maybe Tihu bases, you can grief them because it's fun to grief the NPCs. Is that what you're saying? All right. Dragoon is upset that I'm talking about some game. What? I'm not bad-mouthing a game, Dragoon. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. Oh, New World. Yeah.
Yeah, but that game's out.
New World. Look.
Just kidding.
All right, I did bag on New World, right? And I'm only parroting what everybody else has been saying. That's true. All right. I've played New World. It didn't do it for me. I played the first couple hours, and I wasn't into it. I got to tell you that I felt the world was really bland. I thought I immediately saw all the rubber-stamped encounters everywhere, and then I saw that the housing was fucking instanced, and you couldn't even see it. Like you couldn't show, you could buy all this wonderful crap and craft for your house, but there's no fucking way to show it off. So yeah, to me, it was a crap game. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Fucking crap game. And it turned out to be a crap game, and everyone's leaving it. It's down to 10%, and they can't fix their bugs. There you go. All right. I'm just being honest. That's my opinion. That's not me taking the media stuff. That's me playing it and my genuine reaction. New World's a shit game. All right. Now we got that out of the way. You guys are here to hear me be honest, right? You want my real opinion on things. I hope so. All right, more questions. Getting back to Em8er. Honesty and transparency in all things. The spice must flow. It's a piece of shit game. I'm sorry. And I knew it from the beginning, but I didn't want to upset anybody like this guy in chat. But now that everybody knows, I'll say it. I'll say it. It's a crap game. Amazon's never made shit that's worthwhile. What? They've canceled every game they made. They've pulled every game they've made. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get banned because Amazon owns Twitch. That's likely true. You know they're issuing.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know what they're doing now? They're issuing copyright strikes. If you say shit about their game, they copyright strike you. What a wonderful company! Oh yeah, this is a huge thing. Asmongold's all like, I don't know if I'm gonna cover New World anymore because they could fucking copyright strike me, and you get 3 of those, and your channel is deleted. So great game. Let's clap for New World. Woo! Amazon, yeah!
Do they do it like on YouTube or just Twitch?
Oh my god, he's only parroting the media stuff and he doesn't know what he's talking about. I played the game and and as someone who makes MMOs, it's shit. All right? It's shit. There you go. Clip that out and stick it in your stocking. Okay. All right. My gosh. I don't know why that triggered me. I apologize, everyone, but you probably were entertained by that, and that's what we want, right? We want entertainment. Are you not entertained? Go spend all your gold. Oh, wait, you can't get gold because of the deflation. How are you going to decorate your house that nobody can fucking see? Woo! I spent all this money on my house. You can't see it. Oh, man. I don't want to make an MMO like that. I want to make a game where the crafting actually matters. That's, yeah. I want to make it where you can actually change the world. That you can actually colonize a planet. That you can actually have an impact rather than the static world MMO. Right? That you can actually meaningfully capture and defend territory from alien invaders and do so in a cooperative way so that the community is aligned in a positive direction rather than a griefing direction. That's what I want to do. And this is what, this technology is, I think, a huge cornerstone to that. Yeah, you don't want the bland stuff. You don't want bland me. You don't want bland me. You want to know what I really think. You want to know what I'm trying to do here. This is why you're here listening to the stream. Jeff Bezos. You know, Jeff Bezos tried to hire the best talent. They all left. He hired like all these AAA devs, and I even know a couple people went over there. They all left. They can't stand working for him. They don't get to make good games. That's why he has all these problems.
How much money was even pumped into that? I wonder.
Oh, they spent a lot of money. They've been trying to build this studio up for over 10 years now. They tried to basically Amazon was targeting my team and trying to lure people away with big signing bonuses and things like that. And some of them who went, they left. They fucking left because they suck. You can curse on stream, right? That's allowed? Bezos is brilliant. He's also going to be the king of the world. So I'm not going to say anything bad about Bezos. Hey, King Bezos, I'll fix your problem for you. You got to let me make the game I want to make, though. I had a problem with investors who didn't want to let me make the game I wanted to make. Okay. All right. I'm sorry for that huge derailment. I think I've roasted that person enough. I'm sorry, but I mean, you came after me. So if you wanna do that, it's open season. You just declared open season. But go ahead and let me know your questions about Em8er, about what we're doing here with voxel technology, and what this potentially means. Give me your ideas. All right. So we got maybe lore-wise, the reason the world self-heals is because of temporal effects from the Sihu. Yeah, we could. I've never been one for having lore explain every gameplay mechanic. Have I told you my theory about death in MMOs and how when I'm on a dev team, and this always comes up when I talk to the writing staff. I talk to the writing staff about the lore of the game, and they all want to fix death. Oh, why do players die and get resurrected in games? That makes no sense. We need to make this part of the story. And it always starts out innocently enough where you go, okay, yeah, we'll start off with this story, and you're like, oh yeah, so it's cloning or whatever the hell it's gonna be, and you're like, great, it's cloning, and then they start running away with this. They start running away with it because you go from cloning to suddenly the entire story is about clones, and the entire story is about how people get regenerated, and it becomes you can so rabbit hole down that. Never ever let the story take a game mechanic and over-explain it, okay? Because whatever happens, if you let the writers go wild, they'll take this mechanic and they will totally make the game about it. And suddenly your game about, orcs versus humans is a game about fucking fantasy cloning, okay? Don't let that happen. So, yeah, you can explain it, but be very careful. Just give a nod to it. Oh, yeah, there's temporal things on the world that cause, ground healing or whatever. But for God's sakes, rein it in. Don't stop. When you get that, stop right there. Don't go on from that, because what'll happen is it'll take over your entire lore, and your lore will all be about the death mechanic. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen more than once. All right, Aravan asks, with thumping impacting terrain, are we assuming all resources are surface level resources? Is there a plan to go deeper? Maybe being able to construct drill rigs to go deeper for more and higher quality resources? I think that's very interesting, don't you? Like, if we start talking about the physicality of games, right? And I'll give credit to Star Citizen for this. Star Citizen has a lot of issues. It's not really a game. It's more like a simulation, and the gameplay loops are kind of vestigial and not fully developed. I'm being transparent here, being completely honest with my opinion. But Star Citizen showed me that it can be extremely immersive, and it could be very powerful in its own right just by being a fully realized universe where everything has a physicality. And they're going to extremes, right? They're going to there's going to be like physical inventory with probably encumbrance and things like this. There's going to be, everything is physical. The ships have interiors. You have to actually carry, chess pieces around in that one ship, the Mercury Star Runner. You actually have to pick up the piece and move it. You don't just click on an interface to play chess. Everything is physical in that world. And it's an amazing feeling. I gotta tell you, it's an amazing immersive feeling, and we can learn from that. We don't have to go all the way. We don't have to go the way where you can be so realistic that you bring over all the inconveniences of the real world to your game. And you don't want to do that. But MMOs right now, MMOs are really just abstract. You're clicking, you know why they have so many windows? Because they're not actually physical things in the world. You're not actually at an auction house. You're not actually here. It's this sort of like abstract layer that's on top of MMOs is gonna go away because we have the technology now. We did it before. We did it in WoW. We did it before because that's all we could do. That's all we could do. We couldn't do everything. We couldn't make things physical in the world. We had to abstract it to windows and interfaces. And so when you talk about resources in Em8er, somebody said on the forums, it's like, I don't like the arcadey nature of how they pop out of the thumper drill. That seems weird. It's like, I can kind of see that. But now that we've got this voxel tech, maybe we could have a little hole they dig, and then you see these, elements in the terrain sticking out of the dirt and gleaming, and you want to just go and grab them, right? Like that means something. That immersion means something. That puts you into the world in a more meaningful way. And so could that be extended? Well, remember, the thumper encounter in Firefall was never meant to be a thumper just all the time. It was meant to be a progression. It was meant to be, you start with a small thumper and then you go to a bigger thumper. And I wanted the encounter to actually change. I wanted the thumper encounter to be its own mini game, its own encounter, that it could evolve into like greater and more flexible forms of gameplay. So if you're talking about, hey, maybe you can get a giant oil rig, maybe you could get this type of mining rig, maybe you get that type of mining rig, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being able to leverage this technology to do more things, because we were always going to have that. We were always going to have progression in something, but this makes it real. This makes it more physical, right? So yeah, I totally like that idea. And it's not something that would wreck. We're not going to, maybe we don't do strip mining, right? We don't want people to like strip mine entire mountains and that sort of thing. It's not Minecraft, right? We're not going to do that. But in terms of like, hey, visually, can we do some interesting things with this to make the world feel more physical when you mine it? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm all fired up here. You guys got me on a roll. If you've ever wanted to ask a question, now's the time to do it. Because I am just so hyped up. This has got me hyped up. All right. Let's see. Captain Knuckles says, Em8er Entertainment gets wild with the deals. Okay, I don't think that's related to us. Will there be time gating like Genshin? That's a game I need to play. What do they time gate? I don't even know what that is. I don't plan to have time gated dungeons because everything in Em8er is supposed to be dynamic, right? So my whole thing in Firefall was like, let's get away from the geography. We're so locked to geographies and MMOs. We're so locked to this theme park thing where if I go to XY coordinate on the map, this is where the dynamic event spawns in Guild Wars 2. If I go to XY coordinate in WoW, this is where I always find this mob. I wanted to get away from that, right, with Firefall. And with Em8er, when we do the dynamic events after the initial the Steam launch, that is the intent, is that we add dynamic events to the world. That we aren't based in geography. We're not landlocked. We are exploring the dimension of time and player interest. Okay, what do I mean by that? I mean that if you go to XY on a piece of terrain, the same mob is not going to spawn over and over. What's happening is that there's going to be an AI sort of dungeon master that is responsible for your entertainment, that is responsible to make sure you're having fun. And it has tools available to it. It has tools like dynamic events that can spawn around you that mean something to your character. Maybe you're looking for some sort of resource. The AI knows this because you've queued up the recipe in your crafting UI, right? And so the AI is going to create events that are going to entertain you while you seek this goal. And create dynamic events around you and your party that seek to, further your progression and entertain you at the same time, and it's not landlocked. And in fact, time can alter these events. If it's nighttime, the menu of dynamic events can be different. If it's daytime, the menu of dynamic events can be different. If you're close to the edge of a terraforming bubble, where the force field is holding away the frigid atmosphere of Em8er, the resources could be different. The events could be different. This was Firefall's dream, is to move away from the static WoW theme park and to move to a D&D dungeon master entertaining the player in a world where you can change things in the world, you can craft everything, and you can alter things, right? And you can even alter the story of the game through the collective action of players. That was Firefall's dream. That's what people wanted to see in beta, and that's where we were headed before the investors said, no, let's just make it WoW. Let's just make it WoW with guns. We don't want that for Em8er. So we're staging it out. We say, hey, Kickstarter's going to be this. And then, alpha release is going to be a little bit more. And then beta release is going to be a little bit more. And then release is going to be this. But we're not stopping. After release, we're going to continue to crowdfund new features for the game, new capabilities that'll come online. So claim staking. Okay, we want to claim stake the planet. And we want to be able to have terraforming mechs so that when we own a piece of the planet, we can shape it to how we want. And we want this after launch. Okay, let's do a crowdfunded goal for that feature. Let's put that together and let's get it done together. That's what we're talking about. That's the whole model for how we're proceeding with Em8er development. So let's talk about what's going to be in Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a very narrow scope. You're going to have the Thumper encounter. We're going to get the light frames in there, and we're going to get the heavy frames in there. But the movie for Kickstarter is going to hint at these larger possibilities. We're going to talk about where we're headed, where the vision of the game is. Because if you don't have a vision for where your game will be someday, people aren't going to just get excited about a Thumper encounter. Thumper encounter is proof that we can do it. It's like, hey, we are doing this, and this is what we have, and this is what it will be. And you got to paint that picture for them, and that's what the movie is. Gigabyte asks, when might we see Kickstarter anxious for funding for complete team to work full-time on this? Me too. So what we promised you is that we're going to be putting together a roadmap, which I hope to unveil here in January, which will tell you when Kickstarter is going to be. And Kickstarter is doing some really weird stuff right now. I don't know if you know this, but they're moving to blockchain as their database. Don't worry, they're not becoming a NFT game or anything like that, or NFT project only site, but they are using the blockchain to sort of like store the backer information, and the implication is that they may accept some crypto payments as well. But we're keeping an eye on that. We don't know what's going to happen with that, but don't worry, we got Indiegogo, and thanks to Miss Amelia, we also have our own website. We can, if we have to, develop our own solution for a Kickstarter-like campaign. But I think it's going to be fine. I think Kickstarter going blockchain is actually not a big deal. Most people will never see it. It's just going to be completely in the back end. Yeah, Miss Amelia, you actually laid a lot of groundwork for that already. This is stuff we've been talking about for a long time now. And I know that you've been thinking about it, and the code for the website actually has little bits and snippets of that. Yes, so humble too. All right, so yeah, there's GameFound. There's other places out there. Aztec, I don't have a clear answer for you. When the roadmap goes out, you will have a clear answer of when Kickstarter will be. We have been doing a lot of art in the background, and all that's got to come together for the movie, and then we have to get the demo done too. All right, other questions now that I'm on a roll. What else you guys got for me? You know, let's do a warm-up. Oh my god, Toshi asked, can we sell land NFTs? All the cool kids are doing it. No. No. I'm not a blockchain hater, okay? You guys got to understand. I'm critical, right? I analyze blockchains a lot, especially what's happening in NFT gaming, and I'm going to be tweeting about it in January, what I've discovered. You guys might have seen me tweet a live stream sort of thing where I was following a land sale in a very big anticipated NFT game, which I'm not going to mention because I don't want to be seen as endorsing any of this stuff. But it was pretty sad. It was painful to watch these people who had no idea what they were buying into, nor were they gamers. Just they had two questions: when can I put my money in and buy the land, and how soon can I sell the land? That was their two main questions. And that was sad to see. Matrejibas asked, have you seen the demo for Matrix for PS5? Yes, we have. Harry and I actually watched it together. They've made a lot of improvements to Unreal 5. So remember that that we're running on a early sneak peek of the Unreal 5 engine. And you can imagine that there's far more optimizations out there. And if you look at the Matrix demo on PS5, it's running so fast for what it's doing that I anticipate good things with Unreal Engine 5 that we're using here. I think that our frame rate and performance is going to get even better, and that the feature set's going to be even more astounding. So yeah, we have seen it. Okay, so Eravin and Em8er asked about something about caves, something about what is it about the cave systems? You want to re-ask that question so I can see it? And real quick, Brandsburg, yes, if you bought Deep Striker, you get the game. That's just the way it works. You do get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as it's not the dollar pack or anything, it's got to say that you get a final copy of the game. All right, so okay, we've lost that original questions about the. Will it be practical? All right, Em8er asks, will it be practical to spawn caves or something on demand, like when someone scans for it to make dungeons or something? Maybe consumable. So yes. That's the way resources are supposed to work, Em8er. When they don't exist in the world until you scan for it, right? And then we look at what you're trying to craft, because you can have a list, like a wish list of things you want to craft, and we will nudge the RNG to sort of like have those resources more likely to spawn for you, right? So you're asking, can we do the same thing with caves? Can you like scan, like you want to like deep scan for a cave or something? Can you do something like that? That's an interesting idea. I would definitely put that on a gee, that's something we should look at for some future date. Like that would be cool if you could scan for a cave. The caves are planned to be, you know, when we're talking about them as a, you know, we're hand waving here. Are we doing procedural caves for Kickstarter? No, we are not. Are we doing procedural caves for launch? No, we are not. Right? We take the Warframe style approach where we start with a seed of gameplay and we build up from that. But is that an interesting idea that you would consider adding later? Scanning for caves and having them dynamically generated? Yeah, that's something we could do, and this makes it possible because we could generate literally one number for the cave called a seed value. This is the way Diablo 2 works too. Another game I worked on, right? You could generate a seed value, and we transmit that one number to the other players nearby, and suddenly that cave gets completely built from one number, and everyone has it. It takes very little network traffic to do that. Okay, you're just transmitting a 64-bit number. So, all right. Nordum asks, can we have enemy underground dropships that spawn underground and bad guys pop out of the tunnel? So somebody asked me, this came up before. Someone said, hey, can knee biters come out of the ground? Yeah, we could do these sort of visual effects, right? Because we can deform terrain now. So I think that could be like a nice little graphical enhancement. Whether or not they dig tunnels from some faraway place to the encounter that you can then like go in and travel along, I don't think so. I think we're just talking right now purely about a visual effect, or as Harry says, a server-side effect. All right, let's see. Jeebus is asking about the page with dates. Yeah, that's the roadmap. That's January. Eric's is asking, and if portals appear from below like locusts do in Gears of War and modify the terrain, can they leave a space behind that you can later, I presume you can later explore? Yeah, I think that's a cool idea too. If we're brainstorming, then I'll say that's a great brainstorm. That's a really interesting idea. I'm just keeping it at the brainstorming stage right now. I'm not going to be like, but that would be difficult because X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, I like that idea. Guy from MT asks, is there a difference between what I'm seeing in the add-on shop and what I have in my inventory already? I don't want to miss the sale if there is. No, if you have the skin from the sub-program, you already have it. You have the Peerless grade skin of that rarity. You do not need to go buy it. If you are missing a couple of skins, husbando or waifu skins from your subscription plan, now is a great time to do it because we've made all the husbando and waifu skins available for 50% off. Still more expensive than doing a subscription. Subscription's your best deal, right? $7.95 you get the skin. In store right now they're 50% off, so they're $17 and change. So, but if you need to like pick up one or two skins you missed, this is your chance to do it. All right, going to Twitch chat a little bit. Jedi says, now that it's been thoroughly explained, I like it. Okay. Thanks, Jedi. This is good because I haven't written the email yet. I'm going to write the email out to everybody else tomorrow, and I want to explain and give a few clips of this. And this is also why we put up that big disclaimer at the beginning of the build. So I'm glad you like it now. Jedi asks, what about when we scan, it shows surface minerals 90% of the time for the thumper, but every once in a while the scan will show a tunnel that you have to deep strike to get into. 90% of the time. Okay. Oh! And then battle creatures in the cave. Oh, that's kind of cool. So So I think what you're talking about is you call down a thumper, right? You call down a thumper, and it's mining as usual and make its holes, but then the thumper says anomaly detected, right? And maybe there's a little X-ray thing under the ground, like we'll using your mech's sensors or whatever, and you can see there's a pocket that spawned under the thumper encounter, and maybe that's like the equivalent of a Luke bug in DRG. It's like you see that's a Luke bug. You got to go dig under the ground right away and grab that loot, whatever it is. And maybe there's something you have to fight there. That's a cool idea, Jedi. I like that. You know, we talked about Thumper encounters progressing in their gameplay and being their own sort of minigame because we want it to be a substantial part of the gameplay. That could be a cool idea for that. So yeah, again, I'll add that to the brainstorm list. And that's the cool brainstorm. Thank you. All right. Em8er asks, how about restoration mechanics? After a huge rampage, players can contribute resources to help fix the buildings that were destroyed and get resources, rewards, and titles for it. That's a thing already. If you read the vision book, the buildings get damaged and players have to repair them by putting common exchange resources into them to help fix them up. But let's take that a step further, Em8er. Let's take that a step further. Now that we've learned a little bit about the power of physicality and immersion of Star Citizen, what if you had to bring out your SCV mech to do those repairs? That it wasn't just dumping resources into a UI, that you're actually calling down your SCV, using a StarCraft term, right, which is a construction mech, and you're going out there and actually working on the building, and it consumes resources as you sort of repair it. How cool would that be? That's an example of exactly what I'm talking about MMOs moving from the abstract UI space into the physical space, right? It's just a little touch. It's really not that hard, right? It's just a different way of presenting it. I mean, it's hard if you don't have the tech, but we're so far along game tech now that you can do a lot more things than you used to be able to. So that's pretty cool, and that gives me that feeling of physicality again. Brift asks, what if the ground healing or restoration could be explained by the whole planet being a living organism and the kaiju are immune to the system of the planet? You could do that. Like I said, I try not to over-explain game mechanics into lore. Because if we have a living planet, that would kind of dominate the story, wouldn't it? That would sort of be like a major shift in the lore, and now everyone would be talking about, oh, isn't it strange that this planet's living? So you got to be careful. I mean, I like the idea of having some explanation for this, but again, I'm a pragmatist. If it gets in the way of the gameplay, if it starts taking over the lore and turning into a different direction, I don't necessarily think that's necessary or a good thing. Okay, HS003 asks, how about decoy thumpers and stealth thumpers, a thumper that attracts way too much attention, and stealth thumpers that attract no attention but have lower yield? That's interesting too. And so, we are a crafting game, so when you're crafting your thumper, maybe you spec it out with a stealth shield, right? But that takes so much energy that you can't put as powerful a drill on it or something like that. That's an interesting idea. Thank you for that one. All right. Let's see. Winter asks, what in Twitch chat, what if our medium frames are the SCV? They could be. But I don't know if they would be restricted to medium or if we would have a sort of special mech for that you can craft that's non-combat role. I don't know yet. Interesting ideas. Let's get... All right, so Billy Bill asks, you explained that you want to get away from the geographic locking off of resources and interest points, but with the gameplay of trying to conquer land from the Sihu, I would have assumed that interest points would serve as a strategic community objective. If you don't want to use those, what are the incentives for players to actually push back the front line instead of just farming a front line for resources without actually trying to fully conquer? Okay, so there is a mechanism in the vision book that talks about this, Billy Bill, and that is the concept of world tier. World tier affects the highest tier of crafting recipes that you can craft at any given time. And world tier is directly affected by how well the war effort is going. So the more zones you've unlocked, the more bases you've built on those zones, the higher the potential world tier. And if the T who invade and start taking over the world and destroying your bases and taking back zones, the world tier falls and you can no longer craft at that tier. Now, if you have higher level gear that was crafted, that's fine, that sticks around. But if it gets damaged, and when it gets damaged, it'll fall to sort of like a par level of functionality, like 10% of total output or something like that. You can't repair it if it's a tier 4 item until the world tier is brought up to tier 4. And there's also going to be the idea of cooperative competitive play. People will be competing in a friendly way for who builds the most bases, who contributes the most resources to the war effort, because there's going to be leaderboards for that and achievements and potential unlocks for that. Plus, mining efficiency increases, research efficiency increases the more bases and zones that you've unlocked, so that if you want to research a recipe faster, or if you want to get stuff built faster, the way to do it is to make sure you're contributing to this world effort. Everything is sort of designed to make this, to incentivize players to work together, to give them a reason to push back on the world and to terraform more of the planet, that type of thing. Is the world tier a function of total area or distance of a given point? No, it's an overall score. So it's really keeping track of the number of bases you have, the number of zones you have unlocked, how well the war effort's going, how the battles, are you winning the battles, or are you losing them? But the bases do have a local effect. So, for example, if you're scanning for resources, you want to be close to a base that has good resource scanning abilities, because their scanners are going to augment yours, and that influences the RNG to give you resources more of the type you want. And that's only within a certain radius of that base. So there is a local function. The world tier is overall global function of how things are going for players. And then there's, at the local level, it's how close are you to base. Like the time it takes for you to call down a frame. If your frame blows up, you're ejected from your frame and you have to call down another frame that you have in your garage. Hopefully you've got one crafted, or you get the frame of shame, as we call it. And a dropship will come and drop that frame off to you. The closer you are to a base, the more bases you've built, the faster that calldown time is going to be. All right. Cayman Joe Star asks, shower thought, how fast will base building be? Would it be instant, or would it take a lot of time, like hours to days? It'll take time. It's going to take time to build bases because we want to give the opportunity for players to contribute to the building of that base. The more common exchange resources get deposited for the different buildings, the faster they will build up. Is that going to be hours or days? I don't know yet. Probably we're talking about hours that scale to minutes, depending on resources that get piled in. And that's another important resource thing for the world, too. All right. These are great questions, but I do want to take a moment to do a warm-up raffle, because we are giving away an Arc Leech pack, right? We got exciting things happening today. We have a tremendous feature added to the game with voxel terrain, right? And we are getting everyone's feedback on frame rates, and so far performance seems to be very good. And we are also doing other big things that are happening. Is we're doing a 20% sale off packs until January 5th. Another thing that we're doing that we've never done before is we're doing a huge sale on all the waifu and husbando skins for the games. They are 50% off in the store right now. Still cheaper if you sub to get them, but you can't get some anymore until next year. So if you would like to complete your collection, go visit the general store where the skins are 50% off right now. A great deal happening there. The other big news is, of course, we're doing an Arc Leech pack giveaway this stream for Christmas. It's our Christmas Arc Leech pack giveaway. But to do that, we're going to do a warm-up, Ronan. Oh, and what a warm-up we're going to do. We're going to go through every pack, starting with the $1 pack, and then we're going to raffle off a Forerunner pack, and then we're going to raffle off a you-know-what, Deep Striker pack. We're just going to go up the chain, and we're going to do one of each for Christmas, because I'm feeling it. Let's do this thing. Let's start off with a $1 pack and a Forerunner pack. Bang, bang, off we go.
Okay, do you want them together or separate?
Separate.
Separate. Okay. Okay, folks. Now, I imagine we have a few new people, so I'm going to go ahead and explain how our raffle system works. It's quite easy. What's going to happen is you're going to see a post from Faye, our community coordinator. Underneath that, you'll see a post from the Em8er bot. And underneath that, you'll see a little emoji. It's a notepad with a pencil on it. You're going to click on that emoji, and that will put you in the running. It's very simple, very easy. You don't have to do much except click and wait. Now, because you may not know how this works, we're going to run a test raffle real quick, and then we're going to dive into the $1 pack and the Forerunner, make sure everybody knows how this works. So, Faye, when you're ready, let's go right into this here test raffle. Let's have everybody see how this works.
All right. Everybody ready? On your mark. Get set. Click.
And there it is, folks. Please remember, do not post while the raffle is up, because if it gets scrolled away, well, it'll be gone, and that'll be bad. Let's see who can win Faye's thanks. Reminder, this is a test raffle, so you do not get a prize, except, of course, for the best prize, Faye's thanks.
Only one emoji works, folks.
Rift, congratulations. You win Faye's thanks. All right, guys. Now that we know how this works, we're going to do a $1 pack. A $1 pack. Now, what is a $1 pack? So you see, back in the day, we had something called Milestone 3. Milestone 3 was our third fundraiser for Em8er. And we had this whole crazy idea that if you put in a single dollar, you would get some of our stretch goals. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to dive into what that meant or what that means and how that whole thing worked out. But suffice to say, there's a ton of prizes that you get if you have the game, as long as you put in at least a single dollar during Milestone 3. And of course, that's past tense now. You can't get it, except here for this here raffle. And that is thanks to one of our most amazing community members, Maven, who bought a ton of these back in the day. So here we go, a $1 pack. Faye, do we have the graphic ready to go with it?
I do.
Awesome. Always ready. Always ahead of the game. Okay, Faye, let's do it.
All right, are you folks ready? This is your chance if you want to get into the Milestone 3 campaign. On your mark. Get set. Click.
Now make sure to click on that and make it bigger so you can see all the cool stuff that you get just for that there $1 pack. That's right.
Lingo, why would you want to stab Ronan?
They're mining me deeper and deeper into the terrain. All right, I guess we just got to go deeper.
How low can you go? Yes, Cybercat, that's a Voxel plugin of a sort. Oh my lord, congratulations. Oh my lord, you get a $1 pack.
I don't know how deep we are. We're pretty deep. I don't think we're getting out of this hole.
From stabbing to hugging? What is happening? I consider that mixed signals. You're in too deep. All right, next up, we're going to do a... Did he say Forerunner? Was it?
Forerunner's next, right?
Forerunner it is.
All right.
It's
Next
the
up, we're gonna do
first of the newcomer packs.
That's right.
I'm gonna grab the image.
That's right.
All right, is everybody ready? On marks. Get set. Click.
Winter, I see you've been properly trained.
For those of you who want to join in on the raffles, go ahead and hop over to our Discord server. That's where you want to be.
That's right. And folks, remember, click on the image if you want to see it bigger, see all the stuff that comes with it.
Yes, Cybercat. We are using a Voxel plugin, and it's pretty awesome.
Hey, Brandsburg, congratulations.
No, it's client server. The server's sending over a list of edits. Sounds like you're a developer, Cybercat. Oh, we got a winner. Who won?
Brandsburg.
Brandsburg, congratulations. Hey, there's no way I'm getting out of this. I'm going to have to relog. Rachel, you've dug too deep. Where's the Balrog?
All right, Faye, what comes after Forerunner?
That would be the D-Gator pack.
D-Gator. Okay, we're going up inch by inch. Let's do it. D-Gator pack.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scan for resources down underground.
Not Moose.
What's going to happen?
Not Moose, that's what I was thinking. The 5-runner. I didn't want to say it. D-Gator.
All right, is everybody ready? What was that? I couldn't hear you on Discord. Are you guys ready?
I hope y'all are ready.
On your mark. Get set. Click.
Can you imagine if one person won every single one of these things? It's extreme.
We're in a bunch of dense volumetric fog right now. We can't see anything.
That Killberry. And the winner is Dead Gad. Congratulations, Dead Gad. You get a D-Gator pack.
Congratulations, Dead Gad. All right. Is that a Forerunner pack?
We did Forerunner, and then we did a D-Gator.
Oh, you did D-Gator. Awesome.
Yeah, we're going up one by one. You want us to keep going?
No, take a break right here.
Okay.
All right, so just to catch you guys up on what's happening, Rachel and I have been apparently, anyone can join, by the way. You can download this build and check it out yourself if you're an eligible backer. And we have dug ourselves into a bank of volumetric fog that's in the level, and we can't see anything right now. Yeah, I'm switching between first and third person, and literally it's like pea soup in here. So we're not getting out of this. I hate to tell you that unfortunately, the terrain has sealed above us, and we no longer know which direction is even up. And I'm attempting to scan for resources here, and I'm getting no pingbacks whatsoever. We are very deep underground. So I'm gonna have to relog in here in order to, because we don't have like a kill self command or anything like that. Or we could keep digging. Are we going to dig some more? All right, let's keep going. Because there should be a kill zone, a kill volume here, where we will eventually have our Omniframes destroyed. All right, so I just want to tell people what was going on. Now that we did that, let's go up the chain, Ronan. Let's do another 2 packs. Let's see how far we get.
So shall it be. And the next up after D-Gator is, Faye?
That would be Deep Striker.
Deep Striker. Okay, freaking Deep Striker. Let's give it away.
Let me grab the image so you all can be looking at that while we're waiting.
Basher asked, could we turn off regeneration for an hour just to stress test? Well, there would be too much information over the network. It wouldn't work. That's what Harry was saying, that we have a plan on how we're going to transmit edit changes that don't take up as much bandwidth. But if we didn't have healing, it would just be way too much.
Okay, everybody ready? On your mark. Get set. Click.
Who is worthy of the Deep Striker pack?
I don't know. Did we hit bottom?
Congratulations, ASX.
ASX, congrats. No, Cybercat, we're on Unreal 5. Cheap strike. Said cheap strike. Yeah, we are definitely not in Kansas anymore. I'm gonna have to relog. We can't find the bottom. Oh, try deep striking? Rachel says if I deep strike, I might die. Okay.
What a way to go. All right. After the Deep Striker pack is Faye.
That would be Em8er founder.
Em8er founder. Okay.
I don't know what's happening. I think I
Doing-
hit Afterburn instead.
All right, let's do it. Let's do that Em8er founder.
All right, incoming. Everybody ready?
No, I tried to do deep strike. Deep strike isn't working. And now I can't even fire my guns. Oh no. Oh no. I'm lost in limbo. I have reached the part of the simulation that isn't letting me do anything. I can't glide. I have no abilities. Oh, I got missiles. I have nothing to lock on. I got no weapons. This is bad, folks. This is bad. I think that's it. I think this is the bottom of the world. I think we finally found it. Thanks, Rachel, for luring me to my death. And the fog is so thick here, I can't even see my Omni frame. All right, let's do some raffles while I dig myself out of this conundrum.
All righty, is everybody ready to try their hand at winning the Em8er founder pack? On your mark. Get set. Click.
We now all have Grum's secret password.
Not password, just my email address that everybody knows anyways.
Congratulations, Zap20. You are now the proud owner of an Em8er founder pack.
Yeah.
What value is the Em8er founder pack?
That one is the $149.
Ooh, we're getting up there. All right. Congratulations on that. What's next?
What's next?
The next one is the Archon.
Archon.
By the way, before we go to Archon, I just got to say that Gigabear is way too good at guessing, and he guessed voxel terrain before anyone else did that I saw. Someone else had a guess, too. I don't know. Who guessed that it would be this? 'Cause I thought no one would see this coming. Yeah, Giga really has an uncanny ability to do this sort of stuff. Oh, Jedi, you guessed destructible terrain? Yep, okay. So you get half credit, Jedi. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the combo. Here in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modifies the LOD of the distance here. So we are at level 3, and level 6 is, you know, this. And that gives you maybe another 10 frames. So it is scalable. All right, let's go ahead and do the Archon pack raffle. Join us over at Discord.
I guess the kaiju cooking minigame, you know, that was
All right, everybody ready? On
Go
your
for it.
mark. Get set. Click.
Thanks, Cyber. To Winter. With your 80s movie humor. We have actually buried the Thumper in this build. We did that earlier on stream. Now again, we are running no textures, no art. We are just doing a tech evaluation.
Hey, Nadex, congratulations.
Congratulations, Nadex! I can't drop the Thumper here. All right, try that. Oh, someone else is stumping. Who is stumping? I forget just how massive this terrain is. Are we doing another raffle?
We just did the what did we just do?
Archon.
What did we just do? We just did Archon. So are we
Ooh,
ready
what's
for the
next?
next
What's
one?
next after Archon? I gotta get through these. I gotta go watch Spider-Man later. my rush is to your benefit.
The next one is the Shifter pack.
Let's do the shifter.
I don't know, it looks kind of shifty.
Can't trust it.
Is everybody ready?
Think they're sleeping.
There we go. There's some more people. All right, I'm hosting the image so you guys can open it up and check it out in your browser. Are you ready? On your mark. Get set. Go.
There are so many things in that pack, y'all. Click it, check it out. $499 value. That's $500. Okay.
Is anybody? I was gonna say, is anybody a fan of Tiki? It comes with Tiki stuff.
Oh, the tiki.
In the tiki room?
I remember the days of the tiki. Head Ripper! Congratulations, Head Ripper.
Wow, what a name. Head Ripper, congratulations.
Waifu sold separately.
All the waifus are being sold separately right now.
Head Ripper, your little image there looks a bit distressed. And have we made it, Faye? Or is the next one the big one?
Let's see. Yeah, we have. We're at the Archliege.
Big man. We are here.
We're here?
Made
Is
it
it
Yes.
to
the big
top.
one?
It's the
Here's
big
the
one.
big one.
Oh my gosh. We've given away a lot of packs. Who told you to do that?
Some crazy person.
Oh my gosh, let's do it. Let's do it. This is the big pack.
Okay. Friggin' Archliege. This one is the $1,500 value. You get so many cool things, including the ability to make your own NPC, so people can marvel at your creativity in the game. All right, Faye, let's do this.
If you guys aren't from on Twitch, aren't over here already, better get over here. I see someone arrived. Give them another
This
second
is
or
it.
two.
The Mac Daddy pack, 1500 value. Come on over to Discord.
Who will win?
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Welcome, Fuzz. Or is it Fuse?
Fuse? Wrong one, Astro.
This is it. Is it posted?
Not yet. We're giving everybody a chance to pop over because we got some Twitch
okay.
people.
All right.
Twitch people jumping over here.
Get on over to Discord. Wow, we look like a black and white stylized game from this view.
Ember by Matka.
30 seconds, folks. If you're not here, you're gonna miss it.
Mech Noir. Yeah.
Mech Noir. I like it. Waifu femme fatales.
Zingo, there's a setting in the game menu for Epic that pretty much changes the game graphics.
Yes, Alfie, if when you get to message me, that would be good. I'm here to help you.
All right, everybody ready? Get your mouse
Do it.
on your mark. Get set. Click.
Miss M already won everything, so no thank you. And yes, folks, remember, please do not post while this is up. Gotta give everybody a chance. We don't want it to get lost. All scrolled away.
Only on the notepad with the pencil emoji, folks.
Any other emoji is a troll. Troll emoji?
I see you, Maury.
Izera? Am I saying that right? Congratulations, Izera. You get a friggin' arc lead.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. All that stuff. Well, what a way to go out on the stream and to be giving away all these packs, including an Arc Leech. Oh, are we doing this? We're not doing this. No, we're not getting... Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go. Wormhole to the center of the earth.
Straight to heck.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say here, thank you very much for everyone who participated in this Chief Chat and this demo. Let me know how performance is on this demonstration of voxel terrain. You can download it from our download site, Em8er.com, if you're an eligible backer. And this build will be available to subscribers the next build from now, because you guys, subscribers, are one build behind full package backers. And we are doing a couple things. We're doing a holiday sale, 20% off all packs and upgrades until January 5th. We are also doing, for the first time ever, a cosmetics sale on waifus and husbandos, 50% off till January 5. Great time to pick up skins that you might be missing if you were a subscriber and only joined us recently and you wanted to grab a skin from before. And yeah, let us know what you think. I think this has got a lot of potential. It's going to solve a lot of problems we have anyways for base building and procedural world generation that we were trying to solve. Performance is up. And so far, I haven't heard anyone say performance is bad, even on our lowest end systems. So that is good news indeed. Thank you very much again for joining the stream. I'm going to be going to watch Spider-Man now. And I should have named this the We Hate New World stream. Sorry for that fiery tirade, but I think you guys enjoyed that, and I got something off my chest about that game. But the real focus is the voxel terrain. So what we're doing with that, with the potential of what we can do, I'm interested in your ideas. Moderators have a thread going on our forums right now where you can chime in with your ideas on how to make voxel terrain a interesting and exciting feature for Em8er. All right, everybody, thank you very much, and I will see you after Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful New Year as well, and we will see you on the flip side.